Hey, I'm pretty sure I'm live. I think I'm live at least. And I am going to give myself a full body massage without a massage therapist. I'm going to use all these crazy tools. I'll put links to everything that you could use in the description for this video. And this is something you could do just like once a week to feel like $1,000,000. And I'll tell you, massage therapists out there, I love you. But I think sometimes people also need to take some of their own body care into their own hands. I realize I'm going to show you a whole range of different cool things that you got to like buy sometimes to use. I'm going to go feet to head, but hopefully you pick up at least a few tips, and a few of these tools are going to be helpful for you. And yes, I'm in my underwear on a Saturday morning, and this is just what I do. So, yeah, that's it. Let's do this. Okay, so we're going to start off with the feet. I have no clue how long I'm going to go here, but we'll just go as long as we go. So for the feet, and I'm just going to go like feet all the way up to the top of my head, kind of going back and forth between all these different tools that I use. So for the feet, and if you get bored with this, that's cool. I'm just going to do my thing. You can watch if you want to watch. But for the feet, I use this one. It's called a MyoBuddy. It's going to be a little loud, but here we go. So I kind of turn the feet in like this. Really focus on the arch. You're going to be able to hunt down some spots. You can also do this with a golf ball or like one of those spiky little kind of like massage therapy balls you can get, but because I keep one of those underneath my desk, so I kind of get some of that done anyways, I like to use the vibrating roller on the feet when I'm doing it this way. The other thing that you can do that I should show you, let me grab this real quick. So typically when I'm doing this kind of full body routine, I'll put like a lotion. This one I really like. It's made by this company, Ancient Minerals. But if you kind of hit each body part before you roll it, it'll help to drive some of this lotion into the tissue and kind of relax it. So what I'll do is like right before I do a body area, I'll just like smear this in. Okay, so now I've got my lotion in. So now I'm gonna do a little bit more here. If you guys have questions as I do this, I mean, it's all going to be pretty straightforward, but just leave them below. So the nice part about the lotion is it'll really relax some of these areas. So I'll just hunt down any tight spots with this guy. Fortunately, because I've been really good with the golf ball this week, underneath my desk, there's not a whole lot for me to work on here on this right foot. Everything feels pretty good. I can draw little circles around the malleolus here. But ultimately, feet feel pretty good. Now the other thing that I'll do, and I'll show you in a second with this rumble roller, is sometimes if I already have something out, rather than putting it away, I'll just hit any other body parts that need to be hit. So the other areas that I like to work with this guy, actually the hands and the head. So for the hands, basically, I'll kind of go along the top like this. And I'll show you a little bit how I do my forearms. And then the other side like this. A lot of like obstacle course racers. I know this thing is loud. A lot of obstacle course racers will have issues with their hands, for example. This is a really good way to kind of get blood flow. The hand, you can kind of go in between into the different joints here. Same thing here. And then I'll also show you how I do this to my head as well, because it's really great for the head. And then we'll move on, and we'll be a little hardcore with the rollers and stuff. So, here we go. And Chris, the kettlebell training's going well, man. That's why I got to do this stuff, dude. I saw your comment there. So the head, basically I'll go all around the head. And then I'll also do the jaw. I'll open and close 3 times. Go around to the other side. And it's kind of nice to get the back of the head too. You kind of dig into some of those craniosacral muscles in the neck. Okay. So now I just got my head, my feet, my hands warmed up. So now we're going to move on and go to the pain cave a little bit. So we're going to start with the calves. And again, I'm going to go feet to head, feet to head. So this guy, rumble roller, is what we're going to start off with for the calves. And I'm going to listen to some TED Talks while I'm doing this. Okay, so this is the foam roller from hell. Start here at the bottom. So for this one, I'll do about 10 passes or so. Just straight up and down. I'm just hitting the middle of the calf right now. And then I'm going to shift after about 10 passes. I go to the medial side here. See how I kind of turn my body? So now I'm hitting the inside of the calf. I totally realized I forgot to do exactly what I told you guys to do, which was to put the gel on. So again, you can apply that gel before you hit any body part. So we'll do this part too. Okay. It's just a great way to really get a lot more of that magnesium into the tissue. So I'm going to keep going on the medial side here. Yeah, about 10 passes on that medial side. Sometimes you'll find sore spots you can really dig into, like right there. If I hit a sore spot, I'll go like this, right? So you'll shear it a little bit because I found a spot in that medial side that needs a little bit of targeting. So I'm shearing it here. Okay, and then I'm going to go to the outside. Now you'll find kind of up around that tibia, on your tibial plateau right there, this tends to be pretty sore. And again, you can kind of shear that right there if you get knee pain. It's a really good spot to hit. See how I kind of roll it back and forth right in there? I'm going to show you a cool trick for the back of the knees too here in a second. Show you two cool tricks for the back of the knees. Okay, so I'm getting close to finishing off that part, but you want to hit the front of the calf too. So once I get the back, the medial, the middle, and the lateral, kind of get into this position here, and you'll go here, and you can just basically get your entire shin splint area. Kind of more of a push-up position here. And again, I'll go at least about 10 passes. Sore. I was chopping wood last night. All right, then we'll do the other leg. Same thing, I'm going to start in the middle. So go from the Achilles all the way up to about the back of the knee. You don't have to worry about digging all the way into the back of the knee when you're working your calf, because I'm going to show you a trick for the back of the knee. It's really good. Same thing. And I know I make funny faces when I do this because there's some spots that are pretty sore. So again, I'm hitting the medial side here. And again, if I find anywhere that's like super duper sore, kind of like up here, like towards the top, I can shear it a little bit. Just kind of give it a little back and forth, good. And also go to the lateral side. And again, a lot of times when you get up towards the knee on that lateral side, you're going to find some real areas of discomfort. That gastroc tends to stick to the soleus a little bit. And if you do, again, you can kind of shear it. Okay, just find that spot, pin it. It's almost like you're doing your own active release therapy. Same thing. You get the front. This area that tends to give a lot of people shin splints if you don't work it. Give about 10 passes or so. Okay, now I'm going to show you if you get pain in the back of your knee or the front of your knee, this is a really good one. You can hit both knees at the same time. Basically get right underneath, right here, kind of the armpit area. I know this looks silly, but you kind of go right in there and then you just start to shear it. I'm just kind of digging all into the back of that knee. This is usually kind of uncomfortable for a lot of people. Believe it or not, this can even cause back pain when you got this area in the back of your knee kind of adheses. So I'm going to show you another move that you can do for the back of the knee as well here in a second. Okay, so the other thing you can do for the back of the knee, that area is just working. Let me show you here. Anything like these spiky balls of death will work pretty well. I put a link in the description for this video to most of the things I like, but you kind of plant it right here in the back of the knee. And drop down in this position and just kind of work it back and forth. Get about 10 passes. So I'm kind of hitting the back of the knee here. You'll find some really tight spots if you do this. It's great for hip mobility. Kind of milks the knee a little bit too. That synovial fluid. Okay. Same thing on the other side. Take the ball, kind of dig it right back in here. Oh. Oh. I know it hurts. Okay. Good way to milk the back of the knee. Little spiky ball of death. Okay, now we're gonna do. I kind of like to alternate back and forth between front and the back. So we got here. Next we're gonna go hammies. Gonna show you a cool tool for the hammies. This is the this is called a Battlestar. It's made by Rogue. I like this one for the back of the legs. Really very hard. So we're going to start back in that area we just finished with now. For this one, you're going to start same thing as you do with the calves. 10 passes just straight up the hamstring here. And I'm not wearing my underwear right now to be like voyeuristic. I'm wearing it because when you're doing these full body massages, items of clothing tend to catch on these objects. So that's why I don't wear many clothes when I do this, okay? And you'll find, again, some spots in here in the pelvis, in the butt area, that you can literally just shear. Like I'm really sore right there in that upper right hamstring attachment. So I'm just going to work it back and forth. The cool thing about this thing is it's super hard, but it's also raised off the ground a little bit. So it works really well for those areas. Now I'll shift and I'll hit kind of the lateral side a little bit. And don't worry, we'll be getting the IT band too. Don't you worry about that. That's definitely going to happen. But right now I'm just focused on the hammy. Get about 10 passes on this side. Let me go to the inside. Now the inside can be kind of tough. You can see like this is kind of hard for me to get in on. So one thing you can do on the inside here is I can kind of angle this like so. And put it like this. Put my body over it like here. And go this way. Whoop, wrong roll fell in. So that's one way you can hit it. The other way you can do this, and this is something we'll do a lot of times, you can bring this up on a platform. You can sit in a chair. I don't have a chair in my gym right now to show this to you. Actually, I do have one up there. So basically, what you're trying to do is kind of orient yourself over this guy to get the attachments in here. Now, if you can't get at that, I'm going to show you another trick here in a little bit. So for now, let's just hit this left hamstring. Kind of up towards the butt. Again, if you find any sore spots, you can kind of work it back and forth. Some definite tight spots in there. And again, because we're going head to toe, I also forgot to put this stuff on again. This is the Ancient Minerals Magnesium Lotion. It's got MSM in it too, which is great for soreness. But what we're going to do now is we're going to hit the inside. Well, in the adductor, I'm going to ditch this guy. We're going to go back to the rumble roller. So again, we got our calves, we got the hamstrings. Now, this works pretty well for the adductors. I'm just going to pin this guy. I'm going to do some passes up and down the adductor with the rumble roller in this position. Just hunt down in those areas that are tight. I kind of go nice and slow on the adductor. You usually find some spots down by your knee for sure. If I find a body part like this one that seems more sore than others, I'll sometimes just spend a little bit more time on it. Like I found a spot right there on my knee. I'm just going to kind of work it a little bit. Basically go to the other side. So again, sore spot down there by the knee. Kind of pause over that one. The other thing you can do is kind of pin and extend like this. I don't know if you can see the back of my leg, but I'll find a spot and I'll pin it. And then just like go into extension as it's pinned. Go into extension. I might go back to my left leg and do that a little bit too. That's pretty good. That's really, really good for the attachment down by the knee. Again, I'll pin it and just do a few extensions with it pinned. It's basically like active release therapy kind of. So, got the adductors worked. Now we're going to go to the we're going to hit the IT band here in a second. But before we hit the IT band, I like to do some passes along the front of the quads. So for this one, I literally just do almost like a dive bomber push-up, and I hit both at the same time. And I'll do about 20 passes like this. And you can point your toes towards each other to hit more the outside as you do this one. Or point your heels towards each other if you want to hit a little bit more on the inside. Okay, so a lot of people say that you don't need to roll your IT band. All I know is I feel like $1,000,000 in my hips when I roll my IT band, so we're going to roll the IT band. We'll let the doubters say what they want to say. So, just going to pin this guy right on the outside of the knee, just like so. Here we go. This one sucks. I go all the way up to the top. And I like to get a good stretch here. See how I'm really fully extended? Take your time on this one. Really hunt down those spots. I know this one's super uncomfortable. Big payoff for the hips, though. Notice how I'm kind of rolling that hip a little bit at the top. Digging into that attachment a bit. Just take your time, hunt down all the spots that need it. We'll do a little bit more detail work up in the hips here in a second. I'm going to show you some tools you can use for that. But for now, when I finish up that IT band, I'll do a few rolls like this, kind of up where it attaches. Trust me, your body's going to feel like $1,000,000 if you do everything I'm showing you. I like to kind of roll at the bottom too, along the knee. It's a little shearing. And I just go to the other side. The left side here. And again, just listen to your body. This is probably the one I dread the most. Ugh. Notice again, I'm kind of rolling back and forth here at the top. These are the little things that make a big difference when you're rolling. Give you a little tip. Take a bunch of curcumin before you do this. Your muscles will feel a lot more relaxed. Help a lot with all that inflammation that you do build up when you do a big rolling session like this, like high-dose curcumin. Again, kind of shearing that knee a little bit. Now, I'm going to do a little bit more target work up at the top of the hip flexors. Just kind of right above the hip bone. Okay, now, before we keep going with this rumble roller, we'll go back to the adductors real quick. The same company that makes the rumble roller They make this stick like this. I really dig this thing. I travel with this thing. This is probably gonna look perverted on Facebook video, but basically you want to hit the area up by your groin too, which is tough to get with that roller. So I'm gonna come in like this. There's some muscles in here that can tend to cause a lot of pelvic dysfunction if you don't work them. So I'll do a few passes through here for the adductor with that leg pinned. It just lets you get a little bit farther up into the pelvis area that you're not able to get with that roller. And same thing, go here on the other side. Right up in there and some of the adductor. We're doing the same thing in the groin too. And again, it's going to look totally perverted, you guys, but you know what? It's going to show you what I do. So we want to use the same tool. And we want to get into this area. And again, can be pretty tough to get into with that roller, okay? So I'm literally just like finding this area, right kind of around my balls, my perineum. And I'm just going to apply some pressure right down that area and work that part that's tough to get to with the roller. Oh my gosh. I know this looks really bad right now, but freaking A, this thing works. This is another area a lot of people forget to work. This kind of like deeper pelvis region. You can also sit on like a, like a lacrosse ball or one of those recovery balls and do this in a seated position as well on one of those. But I find I get a lot more targeted work done by just like using this stick with the two spiky balls on top of it. And again, same company that does the rumble roller makes this one. You can kind of shear it a little bit too like this. And again, I know this looks horrible, you guys. And some of you are laughing because it looks like I'm doing things to myself on Facebook video. But just keeping things real. I'm showing you everything I do because I want to show it all to you. So find those little spots and work them. Okay, so now we're going to get some detail work on the outside of the hips. We're going to start with the rumble roller, then I'm going to show you something else that's going to work really well. So with the rumble roller, we're just going to start crossing one leg over, just kind of working the outside here. Okay, go to the other side. Now, what I like to do on this, once I've kind of hunted down some of those spots, is I'll do a little rotation like this. See that? Okay, and then I'll roll this way. Sometimes you get some really nice kind of pelvic and low back pops as you do this one. So I'm just kind of shearing and torquing that entire area below my hips as I rotate back and forth here. And I'll do about 5 or 10 passes, just hunting down spots
on the outside of those hips. And again, you're just going to find spots. That's, again, another reason I like the rumble rollers. It'll really let you dig into spots that you find that you can just kind of stop and roll a little bit. Okay, so before we move on and start to hit our quadratus lumborum and some of our back, I'm going to show you what else you can use here. Okay, this is a Hypersphere. So this guy, you flip on like this, and it's going to vibrate. So things might get a little loud here in a second. Okay, boom, boom, boom. So this guy's vibrating now, okay? This is awesome for digestion, for the hips, for whatever. So I'm going to lock this right into my hip socket, put my body weight on here. I'm going to go here, and go here. I'm just going to do some passes right around my hips. Just dig in as soon as I find a spot. Oh, I let it rest into that ball, and it vibrates. Sorry, it hurts so good. And with that hip open, you're going to find a lot of spots. And again, every time you find a spot, just let your body kind of sit into that vibrating roller. This one's called the Hypersphere. Okay, and shift to the other side. Same thing, open up that hip, hunt down some spots. I love this ball for any area like the hips or the shoulders. Just hunt and hunt as you do this. When you do a full body session like this, you want to take some time. So this is what I'm doing on a Saturday morning, right? Not a ton going on a Saturday morning. I got some time to do this. So you want to set aside some good time for yourself. Once you have like a good routine memorized, you can always like put on a movie that you like. You know, because I'll do this for more than an hour sometimes, but you know, if I'm listening to an audiobook or a podcast, I'm still saving $90 on a massage, and I'm able to get those areas I really want to get. Now, I'm going to show you a cool trick with this one. This gets a little more advanced, but the way that you do this is you can trace. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to trace my entire hip. I'm going to start here. I'm going to trace around up to here. This is good for digestion. It's good for separating a lot of those hip muscles. So basically, it takes a little bit more range of motion. And again, this might be kind of hard for you to see in the video. I'm just going to roll my body. Here. They go around tracing one giant circle around the spine with this bad boy. And then I'll go back around to the beginning. Now, again, I know this looks perverted, but right here, I'm laying on top of my psoas attachment with this ball, and it's also right where your small intestine, or I'm sorry, your ileum feeds into your C. It's called your ileocecal valve. Find it and just apply that pressure and hold it for about 30 seconds. It's going to be super, super tender if you haven't ever done any massage work on your ileocecal valve or your stomach area, but it's really good for abdominal tension. So now you're hunting down some areas in your stomach and your abs. And then slowly bring yourself back around to where you started. I'm going to go to the other side now and do the same thing. Start here, kind of open it up, find my spot. I'm going to roll, tracing the path of my hip bone. Hunting down any tight areas in the abs. Okay. So we've got our hips and our abs a little bit. We're going to go back to the abs here in a second, but just let me show you one other thing you do with this ball. You take it, put it right underneath that knee, that same area that we were working before. This is another great way to work that area. You just kind of stick that ball in there. You can use the other leg if you want to put some pressure on top of it. This one's also great for those attachments in the back of the knee. And the other side too. Okay, the other thing I want to show you on this, you guys, is, so I'm hitting here, and I'm hitting here, okay? So, again, here, kind of dig in. And if you don't ever do stomach work, you need to. If you don't ever massage your stomach, we tend to hold a lot of abdominal tension there. Suck down any spots. This one's great for digestion too. Work your way up your rib cage. By the way, if you tend to get constipated or anything like that, doing a little bit of ab massage in the morning really work well. Okay, so we're done with this guy. Next, we're going to move on to our back, our spine, our quadratus lumborum, some of those areas. So again, Get some massage lotion on there. Okay, so now we're going to work the upper glutes, the QL, the spine. We're going to start with the rumble roller. Okay? So we're going to start with this guy. It's going to go right in the back. Ooh. And you know what I might do is I might face away from you guys for this one so you can see some of the areas that I'm working. So basically I'm going to target the entire right side. First I'm going to go with a full pass. About 5 times. Then up at the top, I'm going to roll my hands back behind my head. And just tuck down some of the spots right there. You can see I'm kind of hugging my head. And you can get the neck up in here, roll your head side to side. Okay, now here's what you're gonna do. Shift your right side all the way down and up. So now we're hitting the QL. All the way up to the lats, just separating that entire right side. I'll do anywhere from 5 to 10 passes on this side. And then shift to the left side once you're ready. Separating that entire left side. Now, while we've got the rumble roller out, what we're going to do is we're going to hit the shoulders. Okay? So I'm going to go to the side to show you how I do this. Serratus. Actually, I'm going to have to face this way for this one. Enough room. Okay, so we're going to hit all the way up and down the rib cage. In the chest, shoulder, lats, everything in there. Just basically make love to that roller. Hitting serratus, rib cage, working chest, everything. Anybody who does need bench press is really going for the chest. Push-ups, anything like that. Okay, hit the other side. You'd be surprised how tight and sore the front of that body can get. All the way up the rib cage, up the chest. A few more passes here on the chest. That left chest is way tighter than the right. Okay. And then what I'll tend to do after I've kind of worked both sides of the shoulders is I'll roll back and forth like this. Show you how this works here in a second. Okay. Now, next up, we're going to hit our psoas, and erector spinae. Okay, so this is what we're going to use for the psoas. It's called the pso. I've got this one in the description. Really, really good way of digging into the psoas, which can be a hard muscle to target. Plank position here. Find that psoas and start to dig in. I'm just kind of working back and forth, hunting down any tight spots in that psoas. Rolling back and forth. Again, can be a tough spot to target. Just take your time in this area. Roll back and forth. And up in that area. Okay. Now, we also want to get the erector spinae. I got two tools. A peanut. Okay. I'll link to this in the description as well. And then a mini version of that pso device. So we're going to use the peanut first. Okay, now what you do is you kind of sit up, rotate, arms over the head. Get into the thoracic spine a little bit. Okay. Now, we're also going to get in to the tiny, tiny little fibers there with this guy. And I'll just reposition as I work my way up my spine. You can definitely find a few little fibers in there that really need it. You can kind of pick your hips up off the floor and work it in as well. Again, you can kind of pick up your body, work it back and forth. These are some of the really, really small fibers on either side of the spine. They can make a big difference, though. Once you find a spot, just kind of work it. Oh, you're going to find some real spots in that thoracic spine. Swing the hips back and forth. You'll really be able to dig into those areas. Again, with the right tools, you can get some really targeted areas. I'll do one more pass with this guy. Get a little stretch. Oh. Okay, so next, we need to hit another area that a lot of people neglect. The claw of death. Okay, so for this one, this is a ArmAid. Okay, so here's how I'm going to do this. Stick my hand in here. Find a spot you can kind of set this up on. I need to adjust this a little bit tighter. So you adjust it like this. This is working forearm, you get put right there. Okay. There we go. So I'm just going to work my forearm now. Like this. I got a little bit too tight. So kind of loosen up on this a little bit. Because my forearms are so swollen. There we go. Oh yeah, there we go. And you can also kind of adjust this guy and just hold it with one hand if you want to. Which I end up doing here. This
one's really good for digging into the forearms. Right there. Once you find a spot, you can kind of windshield wiper it like this. So I'll just do this side. I'll flip it around this way and do this side. Again, you just got to kind of get yourself in position, and then you'll find a spot right there. If anybody types. And on the other side, really good for tennis elbow or climber's elbow too. And go this way. Honestly, I'll usually do this one when I'm sitting in a chair because it's easier to do when you're sitting in a chair, but this is a Facebook video, so I don't have a chair. The other way that you can do this, you can get something like this, just go like this. Okay, now we'll go to the other side. Okay, now the same thing with this guy. I'll also use this on the traps. Okay, so the way I'll do this is like this. About 20 passes or so, 30 seconds, just like using this to dig into those traps. Really good way to work the traps. That MyoBuddy I showed you too is good for the traps, but I kind of like how this digs into them. A lot of these tools I'm showing you, there's, I could use this, I could use the MyoBuddy, I could use the Hypersphere roller. There's a lot of different tools that work for different areas. All right, because I kind of work my traps, my back, and just use much of my lotion on those, I'll finish that up with a little bit of lotion on that shoulder. Here. So I think we covered everything, right? We got feet, hands, back of the neck, head, jaw, calves, back of the knee, hamstrings, IT band, adductors, pelvis, hips, erector spinae, quadratus lumborum, shoulders, chest, armpits, probably a few little areas. We did the stomach. All those tools I showed you, like we could hunt down. I could be here for like 3 hours, Sean, but like what we just did was what? That was like an hour, right? So if you were to do that once a week, your body's going to stay super put together. The only thing that you probably won't see here is I'll go, after I do something like this, I'll go like hang myself from gravity boots or like from an inversion table for like 5 minutes, just kind of like stretch out all that stuff that I just relax. And that's a really good way to finish up. So as a matter of fact, hell, I mean, you're watching, so I might as well show you.
So what I'll do is I'll finish something like this up with this kind of approach, right? Grab this guy. If you've never seen these things, they're pretty fun. And if you have a pull-up bar, they're pretty easy to use with pull-up bar. That guy. Let's get this here. Let's get this here. I forget where I got these gravity boots. Oh, they came with my teeter foam roll. I think it's BenGreenfieldFitness.com/teeter. TEETER, something like that. Okay, so see that? So those go, and I'll come over here. And then you just let everything hang out. It's a good way to finish up some body work. I'll kind of shake back and forth like this. It's a good way to traction the hips. Just kind of wiggle the hips back and forth. Opens up the knees. Tractions the spine. Swing side to side a little bit. I'll hang for a minimum of 2 minutes. Hang for a max around 5 minutes. Then once you're ready, easy to take off, just like ski boots. And that, my friends, is an example, something I'll do once a week. Save myself a lot of money on massage therapy. And yeah, there's cats out there like the Human Garage, for example, and I've got some great local massage therapists here in town. I'm not saying there's not a time and a place for that, but I also want to make sure you know that you can take a lot of this care into your own hands, and that's one of the ways that I do it. So I just spent an hour on my body on a Saturday morning that will pay off for the rest of the week. So I hope that was helpful for you and that you enjoyed that. And I'll probably put out a blog post later on this week that synopsizes some of that in an article for you. So
thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day.